British High Commissioner to Nigeria has urged Nigerians to be proud of the 2023 presidential elections despite the glitches recorded in some areas. But Babajide, let's look at going forward. Even if there have been some glitches recorded in terms of irregularities mentioned during the course of the elections, what do you anticipate, going forward? What do you think can be done to address situations like this so that we can have a more smooth, transparent
my
election?
biggest concern is vote suppression.
Right.
All this noise people are making about transmission and the rest of them, that's not really the issue. Because these elections happened, MBA has said that their survey showed that 64% of Nigerians said they were satisfied with the election. 64%. We know that even the complaints about the election is localized, just a few places.
Absolutely.
We don't have a perfect election anywhere. The law envisages that the election can be perfect. So the law says that the election has to be conducted in substantial compliance with the Electoral Act.
Not total.
Once you achieve substantial compliance with the Electoral Act, the result stands. No court will change the result. This one was conducted in substantial compliance. It's only one of the regulations that INEC didn't follow through. And that same regulation is not contained in the Electoral Act. Neither is it contained in the Constitution. So people must bear that in mind. INEC has the mandate to determine the mode of transmission.
Right.
The law permits it to do either manual or
electronic.
Yes. It would have been better to use electronic because that is a good layer of transparency that they were trying to. They made the promise in the first place. It wasn't anybody that forced it on them. So they should have.
Kept their word.
They said that they had problems and that they couldn't do it. Maybe not. I'm not going to dig into that. What is important to me is how did the election go? In many places did we record ballot box snatching? Check across our country, more than 170,000 polling units. How many reports of ballot box snatching do we see? In the past, before they vote 2 times, they don't go snatch ballot box. So that's to tell you now, people know that beavers is the thing. It was beavers that people were snatching now.
Yes. Yeah.
And even that was in a few places. So beavers achieved 85% functionality success, which is also tremendous. You can't have a system that is perfect, that succeeds everywhere. So in some cases, INEC needs to also improve on its deployment of election materials and all that. They misbehaved in that area. You can't have a situation whereby in Abuja is an urban center, the federal capital. There were places where they didn't take materials there until 11 or 12. And people were calling me, we were in the studio. So INEC needs to thoroughly improve on that. There were places where people were voting up till very late. Even here in Lagos. Someone told me that they were voting late in some parts of Lagos.
And even situations where they didn't even have power supply.
Yeah. So the voting late may not even lead to rigging. But it is because material they didn't get there on time. So the process will start late. And what the law says is, anybody on the queue by 2:30, you must vote. So INEC by now should know in which areas it has to improve.
Right.
And all of those observers have said logistics and all that. So they need to improve. Then INEC should also encourage further research development, to enable us remove human interference as much as possible from our electoral process, because it is the system is not bad. It is the individuals who are bad. It is individuals who are rigging the system. Those who are going now to block people from voting because they know that if they allow them to vote, they will lose. They are the real enemies of the Nigerian state. If you know how many places where they cancel the elections, people will go and instigate violence somewhere, and at the end of the day, you cancel. When you cancel, the person who's supposed to win there will not be able to win. So you've rewarded the aggressor. So we have to keep tweaking this thing, and we'll get better. I'm proud of the way this election went, and I know that
with time we'll get
will
better.
justify time. These guys did better. Transparency, not in terms of the way the exercise went, and the way the giants fell. Honestly, I'm very happy. Next time, they will respect Nigerian voters more.
All right, so let me quickly ask you this final question. What role do you think the international community now should play in supporting Nigeria's efforts to strengthen its democratic institutions?
Well, I think the international community should have more people on the ground rather than listening to unnecessary whistleblowers or hysteric human beings making pronouncements that justify that thing. International observers should take their time to probably be in Nigeria, probably weeks or months, so that to feel the correct mood and gauge of the people, so that by the time the results of the election is announced, they will not give room to some people who go and pay certain newspapers or media organizations all over the world to say that is wrong with the election. On behalf, like he said, logistic deployment. There should be more effectiveness in logistic deployment. For instance, where I voted, they didn't come until 11 o'clock, urban area. They didn't come until 11 o'clock. So when you come around 11 o'clock, they ended voting around 8 p.m. in the evening because people were waiting. I was even surprised because of the cash crisis that we have in Nigeria. Me, personally, I trekked 2 kilometers to where I voted because I was determined to cast my vote. And many other people, elderly people, were determined. So INEC, because this technology has exposed lazy politicians, people who don't campaign. People should go and campaign to their people. Look at governors going to corners, all news and crime is campaigning. So, and this one that is coming next Saturday, it will put the so-called members of the House of Assembly, who their people will not sit there. I don't know the person representing me in the last 4 years. They will now come around to start
they are
now begging. So it will make them to
sit up. All right, let's let that journalist hang out. And also join us again on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30. We are also live on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Esther Mapariola.